Hello and welcome to the Work for Change podcast. This is episode 57. And I'm Samantha.
I was like trying to like give you like a clue to give your name, but I forgot that it's also video.
Yeah.
And so people just see me going like waving my hands.
He flipped her off actually not watching the video. Hi, I'm John. Well, I always say welcome to episode 57. So
I know,
don't know
she
what to
stole your
say.
thunder.
Oh, I took both, sorry.
I'm John with the silent H.
And my name is Jean, spelled like Jean. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode.
Well, okay, so before we get into it, a couple house cleaning things that I want to bring up. First, housekeeping. House cleaning.
House cleaning.
Sam is the one that cleans house.
House cleaning.
Sam's-
John is no longer a host. We have
We got
cleaned
rid of
the house.
We got rid of him. We saw your comments. Everyone was sick of him.
It's Sam and John now, and don't worry, it'll be an hour about marriage.
But so a couple things. First thing, we finally have an Instagram for you guys to follow. So we'd really appreciate it if you guys would go follow that. It is just Work for Change Podcast. It's not the Work for Change Podcast, right? So Work for Change Podcast on Instagram.
At Work for Change Podcast.
Yeah.
I feel like you have to just be very clear.
Yes, at Work for Change Podcast if you want to follow us.
It was my idea.
Oh yeah, it was Sam's idea. She's an absolute genius.
Yeah.
This
There's
has
a lot of
been
people's
this-
ideas,
yeah,
but-
it's a lot of people's ideas, and me and John were just very stubborn, and we were like, we don't want to have another Instagram, but it's actually quite fun because it's basically just me and John making fun of each other on the stories.
Our
So-
stories are making fun of each other, and our posts are just updates.
Yeah, updates on
Pretty
everything
much.
that's going on. So also another update, if you guys are watching, you can see the new merch is finally out. We are calling it the Deaf Panther because it's very death leopardy. And so if you guys want to check those
barbells
out,
on it
yeah,
and
it has
stuff
barbells
too?
and stuff
Oh my
on
gosh.
it. And,
I've been wearing
and
it.
weights, and it is
Got
honestly so
kettlebells, dumbbells, weights, bumper plates,
Yeah.
barbells, cats.
cats. There's literally just random cats
Yeah.
everywhere. So the inspiration behind this was I actually was watching an old Blessed by a Broken Heart. They're like this 80s metal hair and then hardcore genre band. And they actually, fun fact, they were their song Move Your Body was my MySpace song for like ever.
Oh.
And
My
so
MySpace was Owl City before Fireflies.
yeah, I know we were Owl City fans before Fireflies came out.
I think mine was
Pre-
Avril Lavigne.
Pre
Yep.
Fireflies days.
Jean's now that person that was like, I knew him before he was famous.
I'm an Enneagram 4.
Yep. And so I was watching one of their videos, and their style is it's like 80s metal turned up to 11, basically. And I watched it, and I thought, man, I want to make a shirt like that. So I was like, we're going to make shirts like that. And so that's what we did. So we are really excited about these. The hoodies we're super stoked about just because I've always wanted to make hoodies, and I never have, at least for Work for Change. And the shirts look really good. They fit really well. So if you guys want to go check those out, the links will be in all of our Instagrams and stuff if you want to check that out. So, yeah, I just wanted to bring that up before we got into the episode. John, you said you had a couple things you want to talk about?
Man, you just like go right into it. It's like raw dog. Like literally, there's no.
I was going to say that's what she said, but now,
Yeah.
never mind.
There's like no
Well, what do you want? Do you
I
want
don't know. I feel like there should be like you want to
little-
I should like buy you dinner
You want
first
like a
or
little-
something.
You want like a little foreplay before we go into the into the topic?
Yeah, I mean, I got to know your name, but that's it.
Okay, well, a little bit of foreplay, I guess we
No.
can bring up. Well, I do want to talk about Baby Yoda.
Baby Yoda is cute.
We know. He is cute.
Yeah. So you want to know what watching Mandalorian is like with John David? It's this. That's cool. That's cool. Baby Yoda shows it. Oh, he's so cute.
And then he just starts smiling.
Like it'll like the scene will change. Like it'll go to a different person, and then it'll go back to Baby Yoda. And he goes, oh, he's so like 5 seconds.
But as it switches to the other person, I'm just saying, oh, he's so cute.
He's
Isn't
so
he cute?
He's so
Yeah.
cute.
Man, that show is very good. No spoilers or anything like that, but if you haven't watched it and you have Disney Plus, absolutely recommend watching that.
Yeah.
So good.
It was crazy that he died at the end.
No, it's hilarious. That's like the lamest joke. Whenever people are like, don't ruin the movie, I say, it was a bomb that blows everybody up.
Yeah, well, it's got to be so dumb that people don't actually get mad at you.
Yeah.
And then if they do get mad at you, everyone's like, the show still has like, what, 6 episodes left?
Yeah.
I like being on the podcast because if I just listen on my own, I'm usually laughing at your jokes. Now I'm just laughing with you.
Oh,
not,
thanks.
Not
Not
just
at
by
me?
myself. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
You're the only
Did
one
you
that
hear
laughs
that?
at Sean's jokes.
She said she was laughing at my jokes.
Yeah, I know.
I
It's quite the
usually
surprise.
LOL at him.
Hey, look at that. All right, now that we've had dinner together and we've Ubered over to the place, I want to talk about something.
I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah. I want to specify this with saying that, or preface this with saying that this is me processing something. I do not have answers. And so I don't want what I'm saying someone to be like, oh, that must be the truth. That must be it. Because he said it out loud on a podcast. And so instead of processing things within the safety of like a circle of friends who can help me figure out what I believe and why I believe it, I'll process it on a podcast for thousands of people to listen to while I'm still figuring out my
Hear that?
answers. I figure that's
Thousands,
yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
Flexing on them.
I know. Flexing. It's what last week there was a day out of nowhere
Yeah.
that it was like one of our most listened to days of all time.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even
An upload.
an upload day.
Yeah.
It was just like a Friday. All of a sudden we had the most, like, it was weird. Anyway.
Shout out to you guys. Thanks.
Yeah.
for
Thanks.
that.
If you guys came over from that, let us know somehow. Like,
Yeah.
go to app.
Where the heck are you coming from?
Work for Change podcast and let us know.
See, now people have a place to comment.
It's true.
Exactly, it's true.
Besides
And then
YouTube.
we can put the thumbnail up and
Yeah.
then be like, hey, this episode's up. And then
No,
people
it's
can
been a
talk
lot
about
of fun. It's a lot of fun having an Instagram. Like that's the one thing about about a podcast that can get kind of like hard is there's no community unless you have to make it yourself, right? Like with
Or you
Instagram,
do,
with
like,
YouTube,
yeah.
you get comments. A podcast, there's no comments, so
People
um,
will do like Discord or
exactly.
Facebook
So
groups.
this is our
or-
version of a little community.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun.
to start. So when you have a group of friends, like let's just say there's 8 of you. I don't know. That really is a random number. 5 of you.
Yeah, I don't have 8 friends. So.
Yeah. So let's say there's 5 of you. 5 friends that you guys all know. You all respect each other. You hang out all the time. And one of those friends struggles with like alcoholism. When you guys plan your dates, whatever, your hangouts, your friend dates,
What was that sound? This is why you don't have any friends. You know that, right?
yeah, well, I just walk up to them, I'm like, hey guys, you want to hang out?
And they just,
I just feel
it's
like,
no.
I never break eye contact either.
They just tell you they're an alcoholic,
I'm
so
like,
that you
literally like,
leave them alone.
Hey guys, you want to hang out?
And they say, and their answer is, no, I'm an alcoholic.
And then I go, I'm sorry. We can't be friends.
I'm sorry. I'm far too judgmental for that.
We can't hang out.
Oh, why do people listen to this podcast? Okay.
So if you have a friend who struggles with alcoholism and you guys are like
Example.
Yeah.
oh, I thought you were saying example, and you were gonna bring someone up. And I was like,
Example.
Example. John David Glaude. He puts it off like he never drinks
He
alcohol.
always says he doesn't drink anything, but actually,
So if you were having a birthday party, if you were having whatever, you wouldn't go to a bar.
yeah,
Out of respect for that friend. If they're a recovering alcoholic, they're trying to change their life. Out of respect for that friend, you wouldn't go to a bar.
and there's nothing that's not expected, but that is like the right
that
thing
comes
to do.
with the friendship.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like honoring and respecting and looking out for them. That comes in the territory of a friendship.
good friendship.
Yes. Exactly. Well, yeah. I mean, friendship as I know it.
Yeah,
Let's expand that to like your company. You know, let's just say you work at a business that has like 100 people, 200 people. And so you see them regularly. You know their names. You know their story. You see them a lot throughout the week. And you have that same person who struggles with alcoholism. The chances of that company being like, hey, we're celebrating, a great year. We're all going to go to XY bar, whatever, like a night, like Dave & Buster's or something, like a chain that is super fun but also has alcohol. Chances are they're not going to be thinking about that person as much. Now, maybe if you're super high up in the company, maybe they will. Who knows? But them bringing up alcohol is not them being unloving towards you. That's what comes with a bigger pool of people. And in that bigger pool of people, you have drug addicts, you have alcoholics, you have people who struggle with body image, you have people who struggle with depression and anxiety. Like that pool just opens up a lot more. And so the things that you can cater to become a lot less specified and specific. Now, I go to a church of 1,000 people, and we constantly are having to we want to be respectful of that, but we also cannot tiptoe around. You know what I mean? Like, if anything, we need to have the confidence to say something or whatever. That's just I'm just doing the next level. Now, what's the next level from that? Social media. You are literally in direct contact with anyone you want to be. And now maybe they're private, but you have the potential to be in contact with almost anyone at any time frame, instantly, no matter what time zone they're in. And so if you post something like, I had a great birthday and here's my cake, now you get people like, I can't believe you. Don't you know that there are people who are struggling with that? Or you have a beer in your hand and people go, wow, I thought you were an influence. I thought you were So what happens is what came as loving at a small level is just absolutely and completely impossible at the macro level. And I think social media is so new that we don't understand the rules by which we communicate with each other digitally. Like, we've had interactions with people for thousands of years. That's been how we've done it. And then, when writing and letters and stuff came, we still kind of had to learn, let's be a little bit nicer in our letters because we can't convey emotion as well, emoticons and stuff. But now we're just trying to figure out, how do we communicate and how do we process and how do we become a community that never actually sees each other and doesn't know those things. It's just all online. And I think that you see all these people who are coming up with the this warrior and justice for this and the justice for this. It's this response to where in your friendship circle, of course no one would do that around you because they respect you and they love you as a person. But you can't have that same expectation on someone who's in a different culture, different time zone, different context. And so trying to learn that you will not please everyone. You will not. So now, how do we move forward in this digital space to where you can still live your convictions without being a jerk, obviously, but not worrying about setting someone off in every direction you go? That's been my mind. That's been my processing. And I don't have an answer for it. But what do you guys think?
What do you think, Sam?
What do you think?
They just nodded at each other, trying to get the other person to go.
I mean, first thing I wanted to do was make a joke, but I'll save you on that. But I think that
I want to hang out.
What?
I don't understand what you're doing.
Isn't that my noise when I don't break eye contact and I go, "Hey, you want to go on a date?"
No.
No, you've already forgot it.
Yeah, what was
It
the noise?
You're like,
No, I'm just turning into a robot.
yeah, I know. It's what?
You want to hang out? I am human.
I think you're getting a text message or something.
Hello, fellow kids. That's one of my favorite memes. But I mean, for me, when you bring up that stuff, I feel like I slightly feel like the reason you have felt this way is because I've confided in you with stuff that I've dealt with, and the last thing you said, that's the thing that really hits home for me, and that I've been trying to get better at is understanding I'm not going to please everyone, because if you try to do that, and this is what I've dealt with in the past, I've tried to put on masks, not because I'm trying to be bad or I'm trying to deceive people, but it's I want to be PG, right? I want people to like me, but like you said, no matter how much you try that, there's going to be people that don't like you anyways. So I've just kind of got to a point where well, screw that. I'm not going to try and cater to making everyone like me, because it's not going to happen anyways. Because a lot of people, this is what happens. This is what I've noticed kind of probably happens with a lot of content creators that make kids content, is because you put on this mask and then eventually people don't like that mask anyways. So now you're getting hated on for this thing that's not even you, and so that makes it even worse. Like you don't feel like you have any option, because then if you feel like you step back and you're like, okay, I'm going to be who I really am, people are like, well, you've been faking this whole time, so not all these other people are mad at you for not being, yourself. But it is interesting about like the whole, if you look at it at more of a micro level, when it's like, okay, us three, right? Like you guys want to invite me to some party that had a bunch of alcohol and you knew everyone was getting drunk, because that's not something that I enjoy. But then for me to look at like social media and expect everyone that I'm following to feel the same way, and if they post at a bar, I'm like messaging them like, that triggered me, right? Like that's ridiculous. But I am not I don't think I'm a very entitled person. There are a lot of people out there that are, right? And so they have treated the respect that maybe their very close friends will give them as to that's what everyone should give me. And now people should treat you with respect, but at the same time, I think it's important to understand that you can't expect everyone to be able to tiptoe around all of your maybe little issues or things that might trigger you. And you have to understand, like, grace is so important when it comes to like social media and stuff like that. Like, there are people that I follow that I really disagree with a lot of what they say, but I like them as a person. So it's like, I just don't, you know what I mean? Like, I think having that grace and understanding that not everyone is going to cater everything towards you is incredibly important. But then it gets even worse when people, like, that's one of the issues I have with a lot of like a lot of the health at every size stuff. A lot of it's very like, you can't expect everyone to stop talking about that. Like a good example is calorie counting, or like even talking about macros, right? It's like, I get it. If you are someone that currently is really struggling with the food addiction, I've been through it, right? Like if you're really struggling and like the thought of macros and the thought of all that stuff really triggers you, I get that, not being able to deal with that. But then to say, this is where it gets bad, and I think this is where you are going, then to say, as the whole health at every size movement or whatever, I don't want to just say it's them, but like the whole, like a lot of the intuitive eating movement, it's like to even bring it up is toxic. And then even further is to even bring it up or even track is now an eating disorder. That I actually literally had a message today of someone saying that they watched a video from a registered dietitian, and they said, they're like a health at every size, like intuitive eating dietitian. They said that if you track your macros or if you focus on calories, you are developing an eating disorder. And that's wrong. And that's where I think it's like, this is something that I struggle with, right? It might be that dietitian maybe has an issue, right? But then to say anyone that, like, there are tons of people out there that can track their macros and it's not this unhealthy addiction, right? It's just something that helps them. But then to say anyone that tracks because it became an issue for me is going to be an issue for them. That's like the same thing for someone that was an alcoholic, technically still is an alcoholic, right? Maybe is in remission, haven't drank in years, saying anyone that drinks, you're an alcoholic too, because you definitely aren't going to be able to handle it because I couldn't. It's like, not how it works. Everyone's different, and everyone's going to have their different vices, you know?
Do you find that a lot of people who track macros hard do end up developing some unhealthy obsession with it?
I would say if you say like hard, I think that's kind of, it's like if you say it like that, then yeah. Because like you've tracked, right? You guys are fine, right?
But I was always like, it was a tool that helped me on a path to a direction I wanted to go. It was never the end.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
that's what it should be used for.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. That's important
for some people.
Exactly.
Tracking
Yes.
macros is the end. Like
Yeah.
that is what they do.
And
that is everything.
So that's why I think it's so important for people to understand. And this is a really good topic. I know we're kind of veering, but I think it's really important for people to understand when they do start tracking macros, which is great. And I honestly think that everyone should track for a little bit.
At least know how.
The reason is because it's truly a tool. It's like something you learn how to do. And like, it's one of those things like riding a bike. Because once you learn how to track macros, you always know, right? So like, if you ever need to go back to it. But it can become unhealthy. And I have no gripes talking about this. I've talked about it many times in videos. It absolutely can become an obsession, and absolutely can become bad.
Well, I think anything can become an obsession or something bad. You should never say this will happen to you.
Exactly. Well, it's
this
like,
always happens.
it's the same
you
thing
know?
like when people demonize certain foods.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when people are like, "Oh, cake is bad." It's like, well, I mean, if you're eating it every day, then
Yeah.
yeah. But like if you have it every once in a while and you can handle it, then it's fine.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't seen the video where Jordan Syatt, you can look him up on YouTube. He ate a Big Mac every single day for a month and lost weight.
Yeah.
And he's not saying that's what you should do, but like just proving the point that a bad food doesn't have to be a bad food isn't an indicator of a bad diet.
Yeah.
If you will.
But also,
An unhealthy.
not to interrupt you.
No, please.
Yeah.
don't.
You already did it, but whatever.
I feel like everyone is so sensitive nowadays and everyone gets offended by everything. And so I feel like even with friends, like they might not be the closest friends, but even friends, I don't want to bring up things because I don't know what their take is on it. It'd be the littlest things. So I feel like I'm a bad friend because I won't bring up things. Like maybe they said it before. I'm not 100% sure because I'm nervous if they're sensitive to it.
Yeah.
So that I feel like I'm walking on eggshells all the time because everyone's so offended by everything.
I don't think everyone's offended by everything, but I think there's enough people offended about certain things that it makes it feel like everyone's offended.
Okay, I just
about
said always and everybody.
Yeah.
Like I just said not to, but.
But it's like, I mean, if you have one loud friend who's offended at
Oh my gosh.
buying dogs, which there are, instead of rescuing them, you know what I mean? Like
Which is fair.
breeding dogs
Yeah.
versus rescuing dogs. Like, all right, well now you're gonna feel kind of insecure talking about that, and then you have someone else who is super passionate about whatever, and then whatever, and then what, and then you just feel like every topic becomes so taboo. And I think another issue is like bringing it back with like social media is like social media is designed to give you what you want. They want you on there.
Yeah.
Which is a good plan. It makes sense.
Oh, they say it's a good thing. I was like, I don't know.
No, it's a bad thing because it's I heard it best is like it's an echo chamber. And so you yell something into an echo chamber and then you hear it louder back and then it just keeps going and going and going. It's just echo that keeps, and then the more you yell it, the more convoluted and crazy it gets. Like on Facebook, if you put like political views, Republican, whatever,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, well, you get a lot more ads
For Trump and stuff like
for
that,
Trump, and then for people who kind of believe what Trump believes, and then you get people, your friends, you'll see their comments about things that revolve around something you might like, and then so then you like it's like putting armor on your stance. Because now it's like, oh, here's another level of armor. Here's another level of armor. Here's another level of armor. And so when someone else comes against you, instead of having this like open bridge in communication where you can talk about something, it's like, no, you're locked and loaded. You've been reading all the articles. You've been seeing all the comments. You already know what they're going to say, and you're ready to bring them down before you even get to the point of saying like, hey, this was a nice conversation. I don't understand why you said that. But let's meet, like let's sit down and talk. Problem is you can't do that because it's social media, and try to understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like social media becoming an echo chamber where all it does is reinforce what you believe has made us a lot less sensitive to what other people may believe.
Yeah, you start to think that everyone believes what you believe, and that like the
Only
other
idiots would believe something else.
Exactly.
Only like you have to be just moronic to believe the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it turns other people into just straight up like
They used to be
cartoon
friends,
villains,
and
like,
now they're enemies.
Yeah, it turns.
Okay, Post Malone.
Okay, Post Malone, yeah. But like it turns people into like legit, like just comical comic book villains. Like they are evil, bad, and it's like no, that's like a person. Like that's something that I try
the best job they can, and they believe that this is the way to solve it.
Yeah, and I try. That's why I always try to understand, like why someone believes what they believe. Because like anyone that believes certain things, they've gotten to that point because of things that have happened in their life, right? So like a big thing with like the health at every size movement and that camp of people is I try and understand what has gone on that made them believe that, right? Or made them very vocal about those things. And a lot of times it's, being bullied and dealing with like just when you are obese, like it really does limit like your clothing options, and it limits a lot of things, so it can be incredibly frustrating. And it seems like one of the biggest changes or the differences between maybe me and someone that's still very overweight and is part of that movement is, like we talked about on one of the podcasts, it's like there was this fork in the road of either I'm going to make a change or I'm going to blame everything else other than myself, right? And like that's where it kind of seems like it's veered for them to go that way. And it's interesting now because there are, now this is just my opinion, okay? But it seems like there are people that are realizing that and are capitalizing on that.
Yeah.
That are professional, like, registered dietitians and people that are able to kind of monetize that group of people. And so now, because they have that title behind their name, it
What?
Wait, what?
legitimizes it legitimizes what they're saying. And so it's gotten really, I mean, I kind of brought one up that when you were talking, I pulled one up. I don't know if you want to talk about it, but I don't want to completely hijack your talk that you were having. But it's just, it is really interesting with that whole sect of people. And the reason I bring it up a lot is because, I mean, that I've dealt with a lot of people. You know what I mean? I get comments every single day, and I get tagged in stuff every single day. And it is interesting because, again, I don't.
Let me put a bow tie on my side, and then you can feel like we can just go.
Okay, yeah, because I don't want to completely.
Yeah.
And I want Sam to say something else too.
I think it's just like one of the things that started this thought process for me was we posted a Halloween picture, Sam and I, and someone like sent a DM, and it was just like.
No, it was a comment.
Oh, it was a comment. Yeah. They sent a comment, and it was just like Bible verse after Bible verse about why, as Christians, we are not allowed to celebrate Halloween. And then it was just kind of like this, like, my response was like.
Because I dressed up from Pennywise from It.
Yeah.
And she kept going on and on my Instagram page about how.
And so, essentially, like, I was just like, I don't know who you are. Why are you commenting? And then she was just like, I feel like I have a burden and a call to make sure that everyone knows, blah, blah. And it's like, this is when it started thinking, like, if I even knew your name, like if it was like, oh, you comment and you like stuff all the time, let's talk about this. Mm-hmm. That would be one thing. If I knew you in real life, that would be an even different thing. If I knew you and was friends with you, that could be a real conversation that we would have that wouldn't need to live in a comment section. But the fact that I have no clue who you are, and you feel that you have this burden and this responsibility to let everyone know your view on this specific thing. That's what it was kind of like.
And she was going on and on. Even my mom commented it. She doesn't even know how to use Instagram, really.
Yeah.
And she was like, if you knew Samantha, then you wouldn't be saying these
Yeah,
things.
exactly.
And she replied like a million paragraphs to my mom, going on and on and on.
And so, like, that is an extreme example for sure. But that's when it started thinking, like, the same rules don't apply. Like, within a friendship, within a group of people, within a larger group, and then within social media, like, those same rules don't apply within all of them. And so when people feel like it is their obligation and prerogative to let everyone know how they feel about a subject, it's just kind of like...
Well, it's like, if you were to think about, like, what you were bringing up, if you were to think, like, if her goal, the person that was commenting all that stuff, if her goal really was to maybe get you to realize something you didn't know. And, like, she really was trying to help, not just virtue signal kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
If her goal was to really help, why not message you privately, right?
Yeah.
And say, hey, blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
This is what I think. Because if you were to put that in real life, this group of 50 people, and you see someone doing something you don't agree with, but you're not trying to embarrass them. Mm-hmm. You're not trying to be a jerk. You're not trying to let everyone know, I'm so much better than this person. All you're trying to do is be like, hey, I think this is better, or I think this is what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Would you, A, yell in front of everyone, or B, bring them to the side and be like, hey, this is what I think you wanted to do? Again, it's all about the end goal.
Yeah, or C, talking about it afterwards.
Yeah. Well,
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
yeah.
Well, that's kind of the same. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, don't make a scene out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because every time someone else would comment against her, she would reply right back to them.
Yeah.
And
Anyway.
exactly like I said, it's the goal
Yeah.
of the person. Like, because for me, I could easily, people could be like, well, you've made videos about other people. But again, my goal was never to try and change their mind. Like, I understand that they believe what they believe, and there's no way that me making a video about a certain topic is going to change their mind.
Yeah.
For me, when I make the videos, it's more about having a conversation and being like, this is what they said, this is what I believe. What do you think? You know what I mean? It's not like, I'm going to make this video on Tess Holiday, and I hope she sees it and she changes her mind.
Yeah.
No, I'm trying to reach the people that are following her that maybe don't believe everything that they're seeing. Because the only reason I make those types of videos is because I get people messaging me saying, I used to be a follower of, and then I started seeing XYZ, and I realized, I don't really agree with that anymore.
Yeah.
And so that's why I kind of, make the different kinds of videos like that. So, is that everything?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Well, I wanted to say something.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So Jean likes to say that I'm 100% unapologetically myself.
It's true.
all
In all
the
situations.
time.
Yeah.
In all situations. And then the first time you said that, I was like, hey. And then I'm like, oh, wait, no, that's true.
It's a good thing.
That's a compliment.
So
Yeah.
then I was like, okay, yeah, I am. It's like on Instagram, like I'll post one thing I'll post something one day, and the next day it might be totally different. It might be like me working out, being like, yes, like I love working out every day. The next day is like ice cream,
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you never know what you're gonna get, but it's all me,
Yeah.
So I think if you're trying to be somebody else, that must be so hard. And if you're trying to please everybody, just because like you believe one thing, well, you can have different aspects to yourself. So for people to get offended saying you said this that one time, well, I believe both things,
Yeah. I feel like most of us are on a, like, this is an Enneagram steal. But
Here we go.
No, but it works. Like, a lot of us see things as blue. Like, a lot of us recognize that murder is wrong, right? Like,
Some of us do.
Yeah. But there are within blues, light blues and dark blues, baby blues, powder blues, royal blues. And we get so focused on your shade of blue is different than my shade of blue. And we forget the fact that for the most part, we're all seeing blue, And so, like, if we can learn, like, to honor Sam's baby, very, very powder baby blue and my dark,
dark,
Almost
moody
black.
royal blue, like, if we can learn to honor those and still recognize the similarities between those, I think we'll get a lot further than recognizing the differences within the blue.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a good, like, when it comes to when it comes to fitness, a lot of people like to, their blue might be bodybuilding and our blue is CrossFit.
Well,
or
ours,
their blue
ours
might
is gold and theirs is poop.
Example. Perfect. Thanks for bringing so much positivity to the podcast, Jean. It's great.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
Theirs is poop.
Yeah.
3 years old. Theirs is caca-dookie, and ours is awesome sauce. But yeah, like, that's like when I see people like arguing like in fitness about how it's just so, I've always thought it was funny because when I did bodybuilding, I was never, oh, look at these people running marathons, absolute idiots. Why would they do that? And even when it was with CrossFit, like, I didn't, like, I thought, oh, because all I ever heard was like people get injured, so I'd be like, nah, not for me. But when I watched the first documentary, I was like, okay, I want to do it.
Yeah.
Like, I was like super into it.
And, like, they looked like bodybuilders.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They literally go.
Yeah,
dang,
exactly.
they're freaking
And it's
ripped.
like,
They're
but
jacked.
it happens with everything. People that do, I'm not saying everybody, but like there are sects of people that do CrossFit that think CrossFit's the best, and that and if you don't do CrossFit, you're an idiot. And I'm sure it's the same thing with people that do jiu-jitsu, and the same thing that people do cycling, and the same thing that people that do Ironmans. Like, people get that attitude, right? Elitist attitude. And it's just so silly because, like you were saying with the blues, it's like, yo, it's all blue. It's just different shades.
Yeah.
It's like, anything is better than sitting on the couch and doing nothing. Like,
Yeah.
that is caca brown, right?
Yeah, that's poop.
I think if you do truly, this is me saying I think, I'm trying to not offend anybody.
Offend people. Just do it, babe.
I'd
I'd like to see you try.
I know, I probably wouldn't. I think if you do really want to have a different body composition, then mixing in weightlifting and what you're doing is very beneficial for that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I prefer CrossFit because it's a mixture of both, right? Like, if I'm like, I want to go to the gym today, I want to feel good, I'm not going to go do bodybuilding because that doesn't make me feel 100% good. I want to do a Metcon and sweat, and that just makes me feel good. But hey, maybe running makes you feel good. Maybe Pilates makes you feel good. Like, you need to find, like, if you're not going to like
Pilates
it, then you're
doesn't
not
make
going
me
to
feel
stick
good.
to it. You know?
The problem is that you go, well, doing CrossFit makes me feel good, and then the weightlifter goes, well, doing that complex of a lift at that rapid speed is just bad for your body. And then it's like you feel good now, but your body's gonna hate you in like 10 years.
See, but the way that you said it was weightlifter says that.
That's
So it's
the
like-
common. That's the common. That's what I'm saying. Is like, I'm again showing the other side.
Oh,
I obviously don't
That-
care. I think weightlifting's sick. So like, I think weightlifters are sick. I think cyclists have crazy endurance in their legs, and I couldn't even
Ooh,
imagine
and I
that.
love cycling.
I think marathon runners besides
crazy.
this one, yeah.
Shut up. I'm amazing, okay? 5.5 hour marathon. You ain't never heard of that before.
Like there's an
Almost
old
died
like
at
a
mile 18.
70-plus-year-old guy that we know named Ron, who's done like he is not a runner, and he's been doing marathon after marathon after marathon. He just decided he wanted to do it. Like
Who?
he was at the marathon with John David.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
But like
I don't think he's that old, but okay.
I think he is.
I don't think.
I think that's what
he's-
makes it so freaking crazy.
I'm not sure if he's 70.
70.
I don't think he's 70. I think he might be 60.
What if he's
In
like
his 60s.
45?
he might be. He might be in his late 50s. I seriously think he might be in his late.
I don't know.
There's this 90-year-old man running
On the verge of
Ironman. He literally gets pushed in a hospice bed. Okay. Oh my gosh!
I'm on his.
Are you trying to find his age now?
Yeah.
Do I know who he is?
No, he went to the old church that we used to go to. I don't think he is 70 years old, dude. Are you gonna find it?
Okay. So his birthday was 1952. So 1952 to 2002 would be 50 years. 2012 would be 60 years. So he's 68.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Then now it's impressive. Now
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
know.
It would have been way funnier if he was 50 years old. I'm sorry.
69.
But yeah, that is really cool. And he got into it really late, like relatively late. I don't think he's been like running forever. So I
Yeah,
think
he's
that
crushing
is-
the game. So what I'm saying is I find it impressive wherever you are.
Well,
I know that my cultish little workout regime, a lot of people isn't for a lot of people, and I
Yeah.
don't feel any obligation. Like there are people who be like, oh, well, I should really do CrossFit, but blah blah. It's like, dude, just move, just do something. Like I like it because someone's yelling at me, telling me what I have to do.
Yeah.
So I don't have
Me
any
too.
excuse to not do it. Like,
Yeah.
like that's literally why I like it.
But there are people who I see who are like, I really want to get into something, and I know they'll like CrossFit, so I'm like, come.
Yeah.
Just come.
there's
and then
definitely-
there's been a lot of people who came.
There's definitely a certain type of person. I hate when I get the comments of people like, I want to do CrossFit, but my knees are messed up. And I usually just reply, I probably don't do it. 'Cause I am not trying to force you into CrossFit and then you hurt yourself. Like, that is the last thing that I want
A
to
lot
do.
of times their knees are messed up because they're
I
not
know,
moving.
they're not moving at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, like, I think it's so funny when I do the Q&A thing on my Instagram and people will straight up ask me, like, I'm having some pain in this side of my knee when I squat. Like, what is that? And I'm just like, when have I ever put off the vibe that I know all of that
Yeah.
stuff? Like,
Just
Well-
ask Steffi Cohen. Leave me
Yeah.
alone.
like when have I ever put off the vibe that I'm a doctor in any sort of the way?
Well, after mine and Jean's first date, we went to the gym. It was like our first hangout. We went to the gym, and I was like asking him about macros and stuff.
It was so to Jean it was a date. To Sam,
We were just hanging
She
out.
was trying to get rid of him.
yeah, to me it was a date. To Sam it was, oh, this guy showed up at the same place I am.
No, it wasn't that. It was when we went to fitness.
Oh, okay.
Fitness
Oh,
101.
okay.
So I was like, I just have so many questions about macros. What do you think? And now I look back and I was asking Jean about nutrition.
What were you even saying? Were you just like, all right, let me put on this mask real
Yeah, I
quick?
think you're like answering questions and
No,
just everything.
I was pretty like, hey, here's what I think, but I don't know. Like, I'm pretty sure
Oh.
I was like pretty like, here's what I did. You
He's
know,
right. Definitely pizza at least once a week. Some Chipotle.
Oh yeah.
No, but that's pretty funny.
one of our first hangouts, like within everyone was Chipotle.
Oh
Was it?
yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
after
it was.
after CrossFit.
Yeah,
I remember
That was
that.
the first time
And,
where I was
like-
like, "Hey Sam, can you come with us?"
Yeah, and John David, you set up your camera, and I'm like, oh yeah, gotta get in that.
Gotta get in. Yeah, that's when I was still vlogging my CrossFit workouts. I had a
Yeah.
whole series on my channel called the CrossFit Chronicles.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
You remember that?
Yeah.
And it was like
my freaking belly's in the intro.
Yes, it is. Yes, it
I'm
is.
just like, I like walk up,
You waddle
not even
over.
knowing.
You just
I,
waddle
I like
over.
waddle over, both hands on my hips.
Well,
and you're like,
you're
dirt,
just like-
dirt, dirt,
You
Yeah.
know what you're doing, right? You're acting like the proud dad because it was like you had already finished the work. It was my
Yes,
first ever
I know
workout.
what it was.
You had already finished the workout, and I was finishing it, and then you come over, and then
Hands
you
on my
see
hips.
you see the camera, and I'm like dying because the deadlifts ended the workout, and then you lean down to the camera like 20 minutes, and he's on his back. CrossFit's the best.
I want to find that
I've
video
been doing
now.
it for a month.
Dude, it's so funny. I remember like looking back at those videos of like asking you questions and you're just it's the same thing with the Sam. He's like,
Acting like you know.
So Jean, what's a I'm glad you asked me. I am a
CrossFit is,
professional.
well, it's functional movements.
You pick up a pencil off the ground, that's a deadlift, right?
Yeah,
So,
What we do is we focus on compound movements, son.
let me show you the way I've been doing it for a long time.
Here, let me show you a clean.
Oh my god, the
Elbows
videos
down.
Ow, ow,
of
ow.
when you guys first started are so funny.
Oh, it's so bad. Like,
we were
there's, like-
watching one
They're
when we were
still
benching.
so bad. Like, can we be
Yeah.
honest?
Yeah, I mean, at least we don't look like complete idiots. Well,
We look
Yeah,
like
'cause
we
you look like
still
a
look like
derp.
idiots, but like, I'm surprised those videos didn't get more hate. To be honest, like
I know.
I was ready to get flamed because I was the guy that literally started CrossFit like a few months after I did my bodybuilding show. So like I was the bodybuilder guy that lost a lot of weight, and then I go to CrossFit and I was like, I know this is gonna be bad. And it was bad, but it wasn't like.
But
Yeah,
you
they got-
also filmed your first CrossFit workout.
Yeah.
There isn't, like, that's wild to me. Like, this new thing that you knew you were going to get hate for, and instead of, like, just testing the waters, and you were just
Yeah.
like, I'll bring my camera.
Yep.
Who were we telling the other day? And I was saying, because it was at our old gym, and I was like, if I can get Obese to come, can I get a free membership? And I did. I got a free month.
Yeah, I don't know who we were telling,
So
but
she basically played us.
used me to get to him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not the first time. Some of you guys are sliding in my DMs trying to
It's
talk
like-
to my brother. Stop that.
Jean's starting to witness some of the DM action that I get on the podcast DM now.
Yeah. Yeah, I like posted a story of you and someone just replies, I love him. No punctuation, no nothing. It's just I love him. And so it's up to me for interpretation and I'm just reading that you're a creeper. Blocked.
did you
No, I
actually
didn't
block?
block him,
Okay,
no.
I was like, geez, that's kind of savage.
Yeah, savage.
Okay, you had an Instagram post. Speaking
Okay.
of Instagram that you want to talk about.
So I mean, this was just kind of coming up and it flipped away. So this was kind of it's not that far.
Oh.
It's not that far back. Don't worry. So this is kind of talking about. Oh wait, no, this is a funny meme. Wife, I'm going into labor. Husband, win. Wife, now. Husband sets plate of nachos down. Jesus Christ, Karen, I just made these.
My future.
I know.
That's John.
Literally,
100%.
you sent that to the roommate group
Yeah.
chat, and I was just like, well,
How many times have you had nachos in the past 2 weeks?
oh, I've gone through bags.
Yeah.
I've
They're-
gone through
they're-
bags of chips.
And it's literally the homemade nachos that you see in Step Brothers, where you just get
Yeah.
some tortilla chips and put some cheese
I
on
have-
it. and
because
put
we
it
had
in
our
the
amigo
microwave.
giving.
I've probably had 3 bags worth of nachos the past 2
Are you
weeks.
serious?
Yeah.
You
We've
have
gone
them when
3
I'm not-
bags.
How many times have you eaten Chipotle in the past 2 weeks?
I don't know, but I'm about to go for the second time in 2 days.
Yeah.
But that wasn't your doing.
It wasn't
Because I
yours.
only limit you to once a week.
I know.
Well, that you know of.
What?
Let's be real here.
I gotta go.
Oh, man. And the amount of Taco Bell he's had, it's not even... No, I'm just kidding. You actually haven't had Taco. Yeah,
I
I haven't
haven't-
in a while.
No,
Since
I don't.
filmed
so
you
Taco
that-
Bell. Yeah,
Dude, that was so
Since when?
funny. So remember the story I did?
Oh,
I filmed him getting Taco Bell
In the drive-thru.
drive-thru, and then like him actually ordering it because I filmed before when we were in the drive-thru, and then him actually ordering it, and then when getting home, and then I filmed
Afterwards.
filmed him eating it, and then afterwards he's just like,
I'm literally like slouched on the couch. My head is like resting on the top cushion, and I literally look like someone
my gosh.
just Taco Bell just beat the crap out of me
Well,
and then just left me on the ground.
I have a confession.
What's your confession?
So you post all those stories, and all these people were replying. And then this girl at the gym was like, Sam, that video of Jean after he ate Taco Bell was so funny. Where were you? And I was like, I was sitting right by him.
I was in the same position. Because what you ordered like a.
I went hard.
He went ham.
What was your order? I want to hear it.
I don't want to hear it.
A Mexican pizza
Uh-huh.
with 2 Taco Supremes, soft Taco Supremes, a drink, and 3 bean and cheese burritos.
3?
Yeah, with
You
extra
ate
bread.
3 bean and cheese burritos.
Dude, what'd you get?
I think I got a burrito, a soft taco, and another soft taco.
Yeah, and that was hard for you.
Yeah.
That was like
So you had
ham.
a Mexican pizza,
Yes.
which is enough for someone.
Yes.
2 tacos.
Yeah, Supremes.
And 4 burritos.
3 burritos.
3 burritos.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So 6 things only,
Yeah.
not 7.
Yeah, just 6 things.
You are an absolute savage.
Wow.
It was wonderful.
How- How'd you feel?
Well, you filmed it.
Oh, anabolic. It's anabolic. It's okay. Okay, so this was I don't really want to put this person on blast, so I'm not gonna put their name. But it's like a
But it's
nutritionist.
spelled at SAMGLAUD.
So this is like a nutritionist that's like health at every size, right? So in the Instagram, like it's a picture of just text, right? And it says it's health at every size, and it has like the little registered trademark kind of thing. Not people are healthy at any size. Okay?
Uh-huh.
So that's the post. And then in the caption, she wrote a haze with a little registered trademark. A haze approach isn't saying that every single person is healthy. So many people get stuck on this and say, you can't tell me that the person on TV for whatever is healthy. So like, pointing at someone that's like 600 pounds, right? My 600 pounds life. So again, a haze approach isn't saying people are healthy at any size.
Hayes is health at every size.
Yeah, haze is health at every size. A haze approach is about the ability to pursue health regardless of size. It says that weight is not the definition of health, that you can't look at someone and tell if they're healthy or unhealthy, that you can't look at someone and tell whether tell what they eat. Definitely not John, because he's always eating Taco Bell.
And Chipotle.
Or how much they exercise. And it says that health is personal and not anyone else's business. And beyond that, it says that even if someone isn't able to pursue health or struggles with health concerns, that they're still worthy of respect. Of course, right?
Yeah.
Everyone deserves respect. In a haze approach, health is defined as a capacity with the ability to pursue healthy behaviors, not an outcome. I don't really understand what that means. It says that health is complex and looks past the behaviors themselves to also include access to care, access to quality care, respectful care, carefree from stigma. It recognizes that all bodies deserve the right to be treated with dignity and respect, that weight doesn't change this, that health or pursuit of health doesn't change this or anything else. So that's the post. And
So, I mean, what I would say what that one sentence meant, though, the capacity with the ability to pursue healthy behavior is not an outcome. So it's the pursuit of health.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you don't arrive. It's a pursuit.
I was reading through the comments, and most of them. So the reason I got I can't. So this is a screenshot. I can't find the actual post.
Uh-huh.
But I was reading through the comments, and most of it is like an echo chamber kind of thing. It's like, yes, girl, like, yeah, totally, I get it, yeah, you're killing it. But then there was one comment that was just like, what are you even saying? Like, because like with that stuff, I agree with most of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I really do agree with most of that. Everyone deserves to be treated with respect. For the most part, you can't tell if someone's healthy by looking at them, but that's where I disagree. It's like for the most part, because it's full stop. Like, if you're looking at someone that's 600 pounds, you cannot say that person's healthy. Like, I don't care. Like, it's just obvious, right? Like, that's the stuff. And then it's the same thing for someone that's very, very underweight. And it seems like with health at every size, that's never really brought up. It's like if someone is, has an eating disorder, I don't really want to bring up names because I don't want to trigger anybody, but like has a very severe eating disorder where they're very, very, very thin, to where it's like you look at them like there was this big YouTuber Eugenia Cooney. It was this huge deal, very very underweight, and like there was this huge YouTube push basically to be like she needs to either get demonetized and push off the platform because she is very unhealthy, and like her even just making videos is triggering other people and maybe making girls feel like they need to be thinner. Could you imagine if there was the same type of push for someone that was really really overweight? It would be met with an unbelievable amount of scrutiny, right? And so it's interesting with Healthy Every Size. It's like I agree with most of this stuff, and the reason that I brought it up is because you were talking about the echo chamber, and like all of the comments were like, "Yeah, totally, totally." But when I read it, I'm like that person that's like, "What are you even saying anymore?" Like it doesn't. I agree you should be kind to people. I agree that you can pursue health at any size, but it's like the name of it is health at any size, health at every size. So it's like, well, when you look at some, like you just, and I've been there where the behaviors that I had were very very unhealthy, and it showed in how my body looked. And anyone else that I've talked to that has lost a lot of weight, it's the same thing. Like, no, I wasn't healthy. I didn't love what I was doing. Like I obviously the eating habits that I had and the things that led me to be my biggest size wasn't because I loved myself. It was because I was I was really damaging my body, and because I love myself, that's what brought me to want to change. And one of the biggest criticisms I have with like Health at Every Size is that now it's like almost seen as if you decide that you want to lose weight, it's like that's a negative. And that I think that's really is scary. Because for people that get caught up in that whole echo chamber, they get very like caught up in all of that, and then once maybe they have some health issues and their body starts failing them, and they're like, oh, I really need to lose weight. Like needs to happen. Maybe they find out they're pre-diabetic, or pointed at Sam.
Yeah.
Or maybe they find out they're pre-diabetic, or they have type 2, and they're like, I really want to make some changes, and that means that they're going to need to lose weight. And then now they're getting attacked from those same people that accepted them for accepting their body. Now they're getting attacked because of that. And now maybe because of that shame or that fear, they don't make the changes they need. And then something actually really bad happens because they were afraid.
So I don't see Health at Every Size stuff on my Instagram feed.
No, I don't see any of it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know it was a thing until you talked about it. So then I'm like, whoa, like people are saying that like morbidly obese people are, I'll point at you, are healthy. And I'm like, no, that's not good to say to people, you know? But at the same time, what I see on my feed are ex-bikini girls saying, no, I'm comfortable. This is my body now. I'm comfortable eating this. When I used to do this, I would go to the gym for hours after, and now I'm healthy at this size. Self-love, body love, all that stuff. That's what I see. So when I'm scrolling through that stuff, I'm like, yes, girl, right?
And
so then it's like there has to be like a healthy medium because they're maybe pursuing health a different way now.
yeah, I think that
And it may not be looking like from the outside like they don't work out, but maybe they do.
there needs to be
You
like
know?
a clear like definition of.
Sorry, I had to burp.
Yeah, there has to be a wide middle. There has to be. That's wrong.
I got that wide middle. You know
Hey,
what I'm saying?
that's the wrong term to use. All right. There has to be an acceptable medium ground.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. I can't do any innuendo with it. Jeez.
Oh my goodness.
Get out.
Yeah, I should just leave.
So like to the point where like yes, especially within like the bikini and the bodybuilding competition world, where it's like if you're not at 6% body fat, then you're fat.
Yeah.
And, like that's not right.
Yeah.
So to be recognized that your body is healthy at 15%, 18%, like and those numbers are okay. Like there has to be an acceptance for that. Because I feel like the worry is that you're going to be like, nope, no, you're not healthy. That's not what healthy is. Health is a very obvious thing that you're not doing, and you're not doing it, so you can't say you're healthy. And then I think even for the people who are, maybe a little bit over than what they should be, but they're, trying to be active. They're trying to go hiking. They just don't understand the basics of nutrition and stuff, right? Like they're just kind of trying to do what they see the standard.
And people have
people do.
different body types
Yeah.
too. So if someone's like a full figure
Like,
in
there are
our
some
term,
girls who are just thick, and
Yeah.
guys who are just thick.
because there's this one model I follow. I'm sure everyone. She's like a American Eagle model. I think now she's pregnant now. Anyway, I really like her. I can't think of her name. She was teeny tiny. She was a model, teeny tiny, and she's like, I can't live like this anymore. And now she's considered full figure. And American Eagle has their whole thing, like every size is for like their
Yeah.
stuff. And so she's like the face of it, and she's pretty thick.
hmm
But if you saw it in real life, you're probably like, oh, this is like an average girl. But you probably would be like, it maybe some people would be like, hey, like she isn't healthy.
Mhm.
But she's always posting workout things. So she's not like health at every size, like I can't work out. She's always posting that. She's like what she's eating, like normal person, working out a regular amount, but not making it the center of her life like she was.
Yeah. But, so that's my, like, disclaimer, if you will. Like, that's where I think the worry of, like, completely disavowing health at every size comes in. Because I do think that it started off well. I think that
Absolutely, it
you know what I mean? Like, where its roots were very good.
And then people took it extreme.
However, when we, like, if we've done this before, where we've, like, walked into, like, a town center or something, and it's just like the standard American, you know, like, is very unhealthy.
And you could tell.
And to look at, like, they're limping or they're, you know what I mean? Like, there's just, like, and not just like from back in the war. Like, their body is, like, falling apart on them.
Yeah.
And it's like they're uncomfortable. They're, you know, like, I do say that with understanding that there is an area for, yes, you are healthy and you're not as skinny as you used to be, but you're still healthy. To not say, but also so are these people.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that's where, like, when you try to take these acceptances, but then also apply it to the far extreme, that's where you come with your problems.
Yeah, and I'm definitely not for saying everyone needs to do bodybuilding shows and be super lean, right? Like, I think that most people actually shouldn't do bodybuilding shows, and it's actually not a good idea. So again, it's like these extremes, they like to take over these like movements.
Yeah, because extreme is sexy.
Yeah, and so it's just scary. So it was just, I don't know, something that kind of popped into my head was when you were bringing up like the echo chambers, like that's definitely a very strong one that is very strange, and it gets like, oh man, you can go down the rabbit hole in that one. Like, I've made videos on this girl named Sonali Rachatoire where she said like having your kid on a diet is the same as sexually assaulting them. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
it because they can't consent to it or whatever, and it's like, well, if you're just every kid is on a diet. Your diet is what you eat. So it's like if the parent decides to change it up, like that's their choice. You know,
Yeah.
it gets crazy. But yeah, that's just kind of something that was on my mind.
I wonder. Now I'm just curious as to what my explore section is.
Let's see it.
I wanna
It's
see mine.
CrossFit, Star Wars, CrossFit, weightlifting, Star Wars. That's what it is.
That is not surprising at all.
Yep.
What's yours, Sam?
Oh, it's an engagement ring, a wedding dress,
Oh my gosh. Well, I guess I should check
babies. A
All
lot
right.
of like bloggers.
mine. My explore section is workout stuff, more workout stuff. It's all workout stuff. Light ice cream versus regular ice cream.
Oh,
You are
another
what you
engagement
eat.
ring.
Here's one.
Joe
Here-
Jonas.
It's like a cartoon drawing of two people talking. Red shirt. You're strong and spend all day at the gym. Shouldn't you be ripped? Blue shirt. Well, that's a common misconception about powerlifting. Powerlifting has nothing to do with aesthetics. In fact, red shirt. Well, hold up. Are you crying? What? No. As I was saying, sometimes when I lift heavy, it helps me forget about my hideous body. Sobbing. It's quite therapeutic. Weeping. You know what? Forget I asked. Too late. You got yourself into this mess.
And on that note,
Anything else want to talk about?
I don't think so, man.
Well, thanks for having me at
Yeah.
my home.
Yeah.
You're
So,
welcome.
Thanks for being a part of this week's podcast.
Thank you
You were
for
such a
having me.
great
Leave a
introer.
comment on the Instagram if you want me back.
Yeah, hey, comment on our Instagram if you made it this far.
Please don't comment about Sam.
All right, thank you guys for listening. We'll catch you next week.
Peace.
Peace.
Bye.